Greetings. We continue today part 3 of The Bride Unveiled, part 1. I know we often quote Ephesians 3:21 as evidence that people should join and work for the Lord through the church, to which I do not disagree. However, we should stress the all ages without end, world without end part here, which is telling me that God will get glory from his Christ through the Old Testament church, the New Testament church, and this future church of the firstborn. In Ephesians 5, he says in verse 25, "Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself, a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as the Lord the church. For we are members of his body, and of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband." Revelation chapter 21 verse 2 says, "And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride, adorned for her husband." We've previously noted the bride and bridegroom customs to which Jesus alluded in John chapter 14 verses 1 through 6 when he says, "I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go, I will come again and receive you unto myself." John 3:29 says, "He that hath the bride is the bridegroom, but the friend of the bridegroom which standeth and heareth him rejoices greatly because of the bridegroom's voice. This my joy therefore is fulfilled." 2 Corinthians 11:2, "For I am jealous over you with a godly jealousy, for I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Christ." The King James has the only use of Strong's number 718 here, translated espoused. And the word means to be under contract, to be married. It's used in an aorist middle indicative, which would indicate at a point one voluntarily entered into said contract for marriage. That one is to remain a chaste virgin until the promised marriage is set forth in this same verse. It should be noted that all the promises made to the overcomers in the 7 churches to Asia in Revelation 2:1 through 3:22 will find their fulfillment in this city identified as the bride. A review of that material previously covered may be in order at this time, but here I remind you specifically of the promise of Revelation 3, 4, and 5. "Thou hast a few names even in Sardis, which have not defiled their garments, and they shall walk with me in white," that is, in a white garment, "for they are worthy. He that overcometh, the same shall be clothed in white raiment, and I will not blot out his name out of the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels." Revelation 21:7 says, "He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son." In Revelation 3:18, Jesus tells the people of Laodicea, "I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see." Now, previously we have stated the premise of the inner and outer garments. The inner garment, equivalent to our underwear, or the tunic as it was called, is the imputed righteousness of Jesus Christ given to all who believe. However, the outer garment, referred to in that day as the toga, is the imparted righteousness of Jesus Christ, as we are overcomers by faith and obey him after salvation. Revelation 4:4 says it this way, and round about the throne were 24 seats, and upon the seats I saw 24 elders sitting, listen, clothed in white raiment, and they had on their heads crowns of gold, victor's crowns. Revelation 16:15, behold, I come as a thief, blessed is he that watcheth, and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame. Again, to only have the inner garment was to be considered naked and shameful. The clear implication is that the outer garment is gained by faithfulness to our Lord and service, and it may be lost or failed to be gained for a lack of faithful service to our Lord after receiving the gift of salvation.